We're back with week 12 of the NFL. Let's talk a little pigskin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I'm your host, Steven, and we're back to talk some more NFL. It is week 12 already. We got a lot of buys this weekend, but this season is absolutely flying by. Thanks to a good finish last weekend on Sunday night and Monday Night Football, we had a small profitable weekend. Let's make it a 2 in a row for those. But just two quick reminders. If you're looking for NFL player props and anytime touchdowns, that video will be out late Friday night. And then the NBA Best Bets video will be out after this one for the Friday slate. So stay tuned for that. We're on an absolute tear in the NBA. It's been a fun ride. But before we get started, Outlier, any graphics you see in this video or future videos are from an app called Outlier. As you guys know, it is the best player prop research tool on the market today. Go click that link below and you get a 7-day free trial. But let's get right into it. And that means it's NFL fun fact time. So here we go. It's actually a fun fact that might help your betting this weekend. The Bears are the only team in the NFL that has not scored first in any of their games. So if you want to bet the other team to score first, that's an option. Just want to point that out. But in this video, we're going to recap Thursday Night Football. It was ugly. And then go over the Week 12 trends. They went 7-5 last week. And then, of course, we'll finish it with our 3 best bets for this weekend so far, our trends parlay, and we'll wrap it up with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel grow if you have any time at all. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we're on our way to 33,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support. Let's get into it, and that means it's recap time. All right, here it is. I would not bet this game if I didn't have to, but it's Thursday Night Football. We put less than a unit on this game for a reason. The weather was terrible. It was just a rough game. Najee Harris, he did get into, I think he got 16 carries. He got a decent amount of carries. He only needed to average like 3.5 yards per carry to cash this, and he didn't. He didn't even average 3 yards a carry. It was atrocious. The run game, everything, mostly everything in this game was, but that was a half unit loss. And then we put a quarter unit just to have some fun. Jalen Warren, Cedric Tillman, and the Pittsburgh money line. As you guys know, Pittsburgh didn't even win. Tillman, I think, had like 30 yards, so he fell short. Either way, it was ugly. Again, we lost less than a unit. We move on from that. That's why I did some bankroll management in this game, because I was not a fan of it, to tell you the truth. But 87-98, down 1.4 units on the season. We're 1 to 2 good weeks away from just making that look much better, that's for sure. So hopefully that starts this weekend. But that's the recap. Now let's go over the Week 12 trends. All right, let's get into these trends now. They went 7-5 last week. So here we go. Cowboys 1-8 against the spread last 9 games. That would mean you take Washington minus 10.5. What a big number. Bucks 11-3 against the spread on the road since the start of last season. The Bucks are minus 6 in this one against the Giants. Bears 8-1 against the spread last 9 home games. That means you take Bears plus 3.5. Panthers losing by an average of 22 points versus teams with winning records. That is not good. Kansas City minus 11. Dolphins 12-4 against the spread last 16 games as a 7+ point favorite. Also, Miami covered 8 straight games versus New England. They absolutely own them. Miami minus 7 if you like that. Texans 10-1 against the spread in the first half. We talked about it last week when we took a Texans team total over in the first half and they easily cashed. They are good in the first half. That means you take Houston minus 4.5. Lions 18-7 against the spread as a favorite since the start of last season. They are 7.5 point favorites in Indy. And then Denver and Las Vegas Raiders are combined 9-1 to the first half over this season. If you take that, you take the over 20.5 in the first half. Niners 9-3 against the spread last 12 games as an underdog as they go into Lambeau Field. And then Geno Smith, my boy, 9 interceptions in 6 home games this season. If you take his over a half a pick, it's around minus 113. And then Tennessee 1-9 against the spread this season, only second time ever through 11 weeks the last 30 years. Someone's been 1-9. They are atrocious. So that's page 1. Let's take a look at page 2. And as you can see, the record from last season on just trends, if you blindly tailed them, and the season record 71-67 this year. Just some other info, not counting towards trends records, but double-digit favorites were 5-0 straight up and against the spread this year. It's the first time since 2004. That's just crazy. But teams to throw 300 or more pass yards has not equaled wins. 16, 20-2 against the spread. That is the worst since 2003. And then Anthony Richardson, 6-2 against the spread as an underdog. He is 8-0 in a teaser. So just something to point out. Bryce Young, 7-13-1 against the spread in his career. Just another random fact. And the Vikings have pretty much owned Chicago. They have covered now 4 straight games in Chicago. This is just an interesting one about Caleb Williams. When he faces an opponent with a 2% or higher sack percentage, he's 1-6 straight up and has failed to even reach 20 points in 6 of those 7 games. He's 2-0 straight up and over 60 points combined in those 2 games when he's facing a team with under a 2% sack rate. Mostly because the Bears' offensive line struggles. but when they get pressure on him, he struggles. The whole team struggles. They don't score a lot of points. That is the gist of that. He's been sacked the most in the NFL, 41 times. Bucks and Giants both coming off a bye. When two teams are off a bye, they are 21-11 to the under at 66% in the last decade. So that's what I got for all the Week 12 trends, and now it's time for the best bets. All right, this first one takes us out to New York, where the Giants host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks -6. Total in this one is 41.5, and we are going right at it. The total under 41.5 is my first best bet. -110 on BetMGM. It's going to be a half unit because all my plays on this video, the sides and totals have been cold for me. So I'm going to just temper it down, do a half unit on all my bets on these ones today. You'll see 1 unit plays on the player props video, but Giants are an absolute mess right now. Players are mad that they benched Daniel Jones, moved him to third string. They didn't even put Drew Lock back up to the starter. They decided to put Danny DeVito up there. That's right. It is a disaster this year. But Giants last year averaged 15.6 points per game, and Danny DeVito starts. That's right. It's just absolutely crazy. This is just not a good offense. I feel bad for neighbors. But Giants at home this season, 4-1 to the under of this 41.5 line. They are averaging the fewest points per game at home by far at 10.6 points per game. Dallas Cowboys are next at 13.6. I mean, it's not even really that close. Now they play with a worse quarterback, obviously, but the Bucks looks like their best O lineman, Tristan Wirfs, will be out. That's going to be a big loss for them on offensively. It's not going to be ideal because the one thing the Giants can do is they can rush the passer a little bit. Mike Evans should be back, it sounds like. He's going to be limited. It's a hamstring injury. He's not going to come back as a full go or anything. But the weather report in this one, 50 degrees with 15-mile-an-hour winds, which could affect the deep passing game for the Bucks. Giants don't have a deep passing game. I know this total seems kind of low for a Bucks game because the Bucks defense has not been great, but the Giants offense and pass rush, I think, is what will keep this total low. That's why Giants play in a lot of low scoring games. I expect the Giants to get some pressure on Baker in this one. And this isn't about the trend, but we tend to see some rusty offenses after a bye, like we just talked about in the trend. If you skipped it, the under is 21-11, 66% in the last decade when both teams are coming off a bye, and that's what we have here in this game. Giants games stay under for a couple reasons. One, the Giants defense in the red zone is actually solid. The 5th best, holding opponents to a touchdown on only 46.43% of their red zone drives. And then the Giants red zone offense, the absolute worst red zone offense in the entire NFL. They're only scoring a touchdown on 39.29% of drives. So whether the Bucks have the ball, Giants have the ball, you should hopefully see some field goals when they are in the red zone. So, and that's with Daniel Jones. DeVito could be even worse, obviously, but I see the Bucks trying to just run the ball, trying not to make the mistake here, as Danny DeVito might make that. But I see a lower scoring game. I'm seeing like a 2014 game here at MetLife. So give me the under 41.5 as my first best bet. This second one takes us out to South Beach, where the Miami Dolphins host the New England Patriots. Dolphins -7 total in this game, 46 points. My best bet is the Dolphins -7, -120 on FanDuel for a half unit. But I've been hard on Miami this year. I get it. I've been hard on them. I've been hard on McDaniel because they just were not able to adapt when Tua went out. But the Dolphins absolutely own the Patriots. And I mean, they own them. 8 straight against the spread wins versus New England. 6-0 the last 6 games straight up. You saw the other trend. Miami 12-4 against the spread. The last 16 games is a favorite of 7 or more points. This is not the only reason I take it, just a part of my handicap. This is a team, though, in the last couple of years, we know they take care of the lesser teams and they beat them pretty good. It's the good teams when they face that they have some struggles with. But the Patriots offense, they're much better with Drake May. No question about it. Jacoby Brissett was awful, but still, with Drake May, they're 0-3 on the road. They've scored only 16, 17, and 19 points versus the Jags defense, the Titans defense, and the Bears defense. I don't see them hitting 20 here unless it's like garbage time. New England offensive line is the worst pass blocking unit graded out in the NFL. Run game's been decent lately, but I don't think they're going to really get much on the ground because the Dolphins defense has been absolutely legit lately. Held Madison and White combo 10 carries for 28 yards. They held Kyron Williams to 62 yards on 15 carries. Held James Cook to 44 yards on 10 carries. Patriots will have to rely on the pass game, in my opinion, and Drake May to win this game. He's going to be on the road behind a terrible offensive line versus this Dolphins defense that's just been playing better. Dolphins offense, they've averaged 28 points per game last 4 games now. We finally started to see them pick it up a little bit, obviously. Tua back is a big reason for that. But I think they can beat New England on the ground or through the air, whatever they want to do. Run game, they ran for 119 yards. Mostert and Achane on 22 carries. Achane 73 yards on 17 carries last week versus Vegas. Achane 97 yards on 10 carries versus the Cardinals. This running game can get going, and that's what they feed off of, get the play action going, get Tyreek Hill deep and all that kind of stuff. So Tua's completion percentage last 4 games, absolutely insane. 101 for 130, 77%. The Patriots defense is 31st in DVOA. It's just absolutely terrible against the pass. They're not very good against the run either, but I like Tua and this offense to have a big game. It's just a tough matchup for the Pats, like we talked about. They're going to have to score points because it's the Dolphins. They're going to have to score points to keep up, and I do not think they can. You could also just go Dolphins team total over if you want that. But the Dolphins, every single game is huge for them. They're desperate. They got to get these wins now to dig out of that hole and make the playoffs. They just won by 8 and 15 the last 2 weeks versus the Rams and Raiders. I think we see yet another probably 10-plus point win here. So give me the Miami Dolphins -7 as my second best bet. All right, this third and final bet takes us out to Charlotte, North Carolina, where the Panthers host the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs -10.5, big line here. Total in this game is 43. My best bet is the Chiefs team total over 26.5 for a half unit. It's a -125 on DK. You guys get the drill. We've been doing this all year. It's the Carolina Panthers defense. 27 is a key number, so it's nice to get under the 27 playable line here. Panthers defense, if you don't know, they've given up the most points in the league, 31 points per game. We just need 27 here, but they have faced 3 bad offenses lately. Also, the Giants, Saints, and Broncos. They gave up 17, 22, and 28 in those games. But before those 3 games, how about 27-plus points given up in 6 of 7? The only miss was right at 26 to the Chargers. The defense gets absolutely no pressure. We talked about that. Mahomes should have all day to throw in this one. Chiefs offense should be motivated after their first loss of the year to the Bills last weekend. They're averaging 24 points per game, 11th in the league. They've scored 26 or more points in 6 of 10. I know we need 27. I'm just saying they give you a chance. The run game has struggled a bit lately. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but enter in the Panthers run defense because they have given up the most rush yards in the entire NFL, giving up 4.6 yards per attempt. If the Chiefs can establish a run game, it's going to really help because they haven't established a run game a ton lately. But I think they can here just a little bit. And the Chiefs defense should put them in great positions. It's one of the best defenses in the league, as we all know. It's going up against Bryce Young. Maybe we get a pick 6 to help the team total out a little bit. But either way, I like this line. Give me the Chiefs to come out and put a beat down on the Panthers defense and go over the team total of 26.5 as my third and final best bet. And now, before we finish it off, we got to check out the Trends Parlay. All right, we are due for a Trends Parlay winner. So I'm going to throw a half unit on it. It's not official. It's plus 270. I'm only going to do 2 legs today. I just need to see a winner first before we move to 3 legs. But here we go. The first one, Commanders -10.5. The trend we're following here, the Cowboys 1-8 against the spread the last 9 games. Analysis on this one, well, the Cowboys got even more injured last week, and they are absolutely horrendous. I mean, they're a bottom 5 team in the NFL without a doubt. They are that type of bad. They get dominated at the line of scrimmage on offense, on defense. It does not matter. They get the run game is just ugly for them offensively and defensively. Last 2 games lost by 24 and 28. Commanders haven't looked as explosive as they have been in the earlier part of the season, but they're coming off a bye. I think some of it is Jaden Daniels hasn't used his legs as much since he hurt his rib, doesn't want to take shots. He's even healthier now, obviously coming off this bye. Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Commanders, he wants to get some revenge here against the Cowboys because, as you know, he coached for them a while. So I think they win big, just like everyone else is against Dallas. So give me the Commanders -10.5. Second one, Texans -5.5 in the first half. The trend we're following here. Houston is 10-1 against the spread in the first half. Analysis on this one, we talked about it last week in the primetime game. The Texans are awesome in the first half. We cashed their over team total of 12.5 pretty easily. It's just one of the best overall teams in general, not just offensively, but they average the 5th most points per game in the first half at 14.5. It goes up to 18 points per game when they play at home in the first half. And their offense in general is just way better at home. And now they obviously have Nico Collins back. Titans in the first half or second half or third half or fourth half, it doesn't matter what half there is. The Titans are horrendous offensively, but they're averaging 9.4 points per game in the first half. And you guys know you've seen the Titans, you've seen Will Levis, you've seen these guys. Titans 5-5 against the spread in the first half, so against the number they've been just average. But Texans are just the better overall team. Obviously, I think they come out hot in the first half here and go up by 6 or more at halftime. So those are the only two legs I have for the trends parlay. Let's get a winner. But that's what I got for the best bets for Week 12. Again, added plays will be in the pinned comments on X and on Discord with the player props and anytime touchdowns coming out on Friday night. So before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. Under 41.5 between the Bucks and the Giants, -110. Dolphins, -7. Chiefs team total over 26.5, all half unit, just because I need to temper it back a little bit until I get hot with these sides and totals and everything. Player props have been doing well this year, but these have had a rough last few weeks, that's for sure. So trends parlay half unit. I did mess up. The Texans are actually -4.5 in the first half, which is even better, not 5.5. You guys will see that obviously if you do want to tail up. But Commanders -10.5 in the full game against the Dallas Cowboys. Those two together plus 270 for a half unit, not official. Trying to get that first trends parlay winner. So that's what we got for this weekend. Hopefully you guys crush some NFL bets. Again, player props and anytime touchdown bets are coming out late Friday night. All right, thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you later.